6:45 p.m. and a quorum of members is present, so the meeting of the Board of Education of the School District of New Berlin is called to order. Please call the roll.
Mrs. Crosby. Here. Mr. Helmer.
Here.
Mrs. Connick.
Here.
Mr. Kurth.
Here.
Mrs. Schultz.
Here.
Mr. Seidel.
Here.
Mrs. Wondercheck.
Yes, I am here. Or Laundrocheck, whatever you wish.
I would entertain a motion to recess to closed session.
Madam President, I move to recess into closed session pursuant to Section 19.85, 1C, E, and F of the Wisconsin statutes to consider A, the approval of closed session minutes of April 25th, B, the employment services reports, and D, discuss and approve negotiations regarding facility naming rights.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Kurth and a second by Mr. Helmer. Please call the roll.
Mr. Kurth.
Yes.
Mr. Helmer.
Yes.
Mrs. Crosby.
Yes.
Mrs. Connick.
Yes.
Mrs. Schultz.
Yes.
Mr. Seidel.
Yes.
Ms. Wondercheck.
Yes.
We're moving into closed session and return to open session around 7 o'clock. It is now 7:03, and we are returning from closed session into open session. In recognition of the serious and important nature of our efforts here, we will join in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. For all those who are able, please rise. And now, for those who wish to prepare for the meeting, we will have a moment of silence. This is a public meeting of the Board of Education. Prior to this meeting, notice was given to the public last Friday by providing the agenda to the City Library. The agenda was also posted on the district website. A copy of the agenda was forwarded to the Journal-Sentinel, the Waukesha Freeman, and the Waukesha Now, all of which have filed requests for all public notices. We're going to begin this evening with a recognition. We're going to be recognizing our outgoing New Berlin West student representative, Emily Makakanja. If you happen to have missed it, she was featured in the March 2022 edition of the Edge newsletter. So this is going to be her last meeting prior to graduation. While at West, Emily participated in cross-country track, National Honor Society, Spanish Honor Society, also known as El Sol, was the manager of the New Berlin United Wrestling Team, student body president, and is the editor-in-chief of West Students' newsletter, The Norse Code. She volunteers her time with the New Berlin Junior Women's Club and Girl Scouts. She enjoys baking, weightlifting, hiking, and camping, and we are told she absolutely loves a good nap. As for after graduation, Emily has earned an ROTC 4-year scholarship, paying full tuition and books at the University of Minnesota. That is fantastic, congratulations. She'll be commissioned a second lieutenant and will serve 4 to 8 years in the U.S. Army when she graduates from Minnesota. She'll be majoring in business and entrepreneurial management in the Carlson School of Management. We greatly appreciate her service as student representative to the school board and wish her great success in her future endeavors. Thank you. And we have a special plaque for her.
Can we step up to the front, please, and get a quick picture with Emily? Emily, not to put you on the spot, I do know that you're going to speak a little bit later, but anything you'd like to add about your experience being a part of this, being the board representative for New Berlin West?
It's been great. Thank you for having me. It's been nice to learn about what's going on from the school board side of things, and it's gotten me to learn a little bit more about what's going on at my own school, so thank you.
Thank you for your service.
Now we have privilege of the floor, but I don't have any forums. All right, so then we'll keep moving on. We have President's message and announcements. So this evening, we have the committees. to appoint. So per our committee policy, we have 3 standing committees, and each year the president appoints the chairs and members of the committee. So prior to this meeting, I asked board members to let me know which committees they would be interested in serving on. And so for the following, we have Finance. Mr. Seidel, if you would continue as chair, please.
It would be my pleasure.
And Ms. Wonderchuk, if you would also continue as a member. And then I'm also going to be joining Finance Committee this year. And then for the facilities, Mr. Helmer, would you continue as our chair?
I would be honored.
And Mr. Kurth, would you continue on the committee as well? Thank you. And then Ms. Connick, I'm going to add you to the committee, if that's okay? Great. All right. And then we have our Personnel Committee. So Ms. Connick, would you chair that committee, please? Okay, thank you. And Ms. Crosby, would you join the committee? And I will continue on that committee as well. So chairs, please plan your first meeting and then probably use that first meeting to set your goals. I do want to let you know we're going to be having a meeting in June to do our overall goal setting as a board, as we do on an annual basis. That's probably going to be our second meeting in June. Our first meeting in June on the 13th. Right now we have set up for Andy, one of our attorneys, to come in and do the training that I had mentioned. And so that's going to be a 5:30 start, and it'll be about an hour work session before our regular meeting. That invite has already gone out. I'm hoping that's all going to work. So just reply to the meeting invite to let Diana know. And if we do have any conflicts, then we'll work it out and see if we have to reschedule. But I'm hoping that'll work for everyone.
Madam President, do you want us to start our meetings then after that? Do you want us to target like June or July then, or do you want us to schedule something in between then?
It's up to the chairs. So I was just going to mention, if you want to wait to do your goal setting until after we set our goals as a whole board, you might want to consider that. But you could still meet before if you feel you have items that you want to start tackling right away. All right, so that's what I have for this evening. Next is the administrative team report.
I'd like to invite our team from Orchard Lane to come up, please, along with their student leader, who will be sharing words about what's happening here at Orchard Lane.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Royce Linner, very proud principal here at Orchard Lane, and I'm joined by a couple absolutely wonderful people here. Many of you know Mrs. Cater, our associate principal, and I'd like to introduce you to Cooper Sewell, who will be giving us a 6th grade perspective on Orchard Lane during our presentation today. So thank you very much for having us, and thank you very much for being here with us. Oh, there we go. So just to start with, we have very similar goals to many of our elementary schools. We want to start off by really highlighting our goal that we have in the area of literacy. We built our goal this year around really having 3 different indicators. Those indicators being how students are doing in the report cards, that on the enacted curriculum that they're working on. We're also having students measured by our FastBridge assessments. That's kind of new to us. We were very, very used to, interpreting our map data, but FastBridge is just a little bit different, a little bit new to us as well, but very, very diagnostic. It's a wealth of information. We're really enjoying what we're getting out of those reports. And our last measure is built around our Fontes and Pinnell levels, which all of our students from kindergarten all the way up to 6th grade, those are currently used to measure progress and different reading levels, not only throughout the year, but really at their whole time here at Orchard Lane. So we have growth no matter where our students were coming in at the beginning of the year. All of our students received a growth goal based on how they scored in the fall. So what our overall goal was to have 80% of our students meet at least 2 of those 3 growth indicators for the year. Where we are right now, we're at 78%. One of the things that we're doing especially well with right now is on our enacted curriculum and our report card scoring, which is we're really excited about. We're also doing really well with our FastBridge scoring right now. And we're hoping that our Fontes and Pinnell levels between now and even the end of the year will get us over that 80%.
He's a little taller than I am. So another area that we really want to focus on is our school community goal. And we took a look at all kinds of different areas based off of the survey data that we got back from not only our staff, our students, and our families. And so some areas that we're going to talk about in this presentation would be our professional learning that we do throughout the year with our staff members, trying to build that positive school culture, which Cooper and I are going to talk about a couple things that we've done throughout the year. Some other areas that we got feedback from is on our rules and expectations to make sure that they're very clear and enforced. Parental involvement. Parents were itching to get back into the schools, and we're very excited that over the last year we've had multiple people come in and volunteer on different events, and again we'll be talking about those things shortly in our presentation. The other two areas we really wanted to focus on would be supporting the social and emotional needs of our students. Our staff and our parents definitely gave that feedback that they really want to see that happening in our school. And then one of the things we're trying to do with our students is kind of help them build that perseverance and to kind of keep plugging away, to set goals for themselves. And then we want them to feel welcome and part of our school and our school community.
So one of the things that you will see tonight on our tour tonight is that we kind of live with 5 core values here at Orchard Lane. Those values are integrity, kindness, respect, responsibility, and perseverance. So we actually go into the classroom multiple times, and our teachers do a wonderful job of tucking those values in a lot of the different things that we do. And it's pretty exciting to go into like even a kindergarten room, first grade room, and listen to the kids use words like integrity and perseverance. Those are words that I was definitely not using as a first grader. But not only that, but knowing what it means and knowing what it looks like, not just here at school, but as they go out into the community and into the homes as well. So when we talk about how we're doing on our goals, it really starts with our staff. Our staff does an absolutely tremendous job, and all the things that we can say that we can kind of hang our hat on as success really come from the hard work and dedication of our staff. We are very proud of the collaboration that we are having with our other elementary schools. We'll talk a little bit about that through PLCs. That was something brand new. That collaboration was a new piece for us this year, and it's going very well. Our school-based leadership teams, many of our elementary schools have school-based leadership teams that meet throughout the year. That's actually new for us here at Orchard Lane. We just started that this year, second semester, and that's going well. We're going to roll that into next year. We've got more and more people inside the school this year, which is awesome. And also the social emotional learning supports for students. We'll talk a little bit about some of the pieces that are in place there as well. And also one of the things you'll see tonight, you'll see in 3 different sections of our school, you'll actually walk by 2 of them, where we put these boxes in. It kind of came from something that we had done at a previous school over at Elmwood, and we had these students in need of assistance and praise boxes. And we're actually doing something a little bit different with them here at Orchard Lane. When I met with our anti-bullying coalition last year, the students kind of shared that they wanted to wait. They didn't always feel comfortable. If they saw something, they didn't always feel comfortable having an opportunity to go right up to the teacher because the teacher might be also in front of 25 kids. Or they didn't always feel comfortable leaving to go to the office to share something that they might have seen that was either A, good, or B, not good. So we brought back the idea of these snap boxes, and what they are is a way for students to really anonymously report things that are not only things where students might need assistance, but also things that might kind of require some praise as well. So we want that to be both positive and something that we might need to support. And those are things that Mrs. Cater and I, we go through, we're going to be going through regularly, and we are working right now with the students to try to kind of help them understand how to use these effectively, because we really want them to be targeted and for areas where we could use some additional adult support in our school. So for our areas of growth, things we're going to continue to look at going into next year, we definitely want to grow in our PLCs. So our PLCs is something that we know is going to be the heartbeat of whatever we do as our grade level and department teams throughout the year. Those are the things that when we can really set the bottom of that pyramid, the foundation, and be a strong PLC, we know that whatever it is that we're going to be doing as far as content goes, whatever student needs, come walking through those doors, we're going to be prepared to handle those as a team.
Hey, Roy, is PLC, I'm over here.
Sorry.
That's great. Is PLC professional learning community? Is that
Yes.
what that is? Okay,
Yes.
I wasn't quite
Yeah,
sure. Thank
sorry.
you.
I try to get those acronyms out of there, but yeah, so professional learning communities, and it's really it's something that has been part of our district for quite a while, and but we are really kind of going back and really looking at relaunching that work with our staff because. Depending upon when staff were getting here, there might be some teachers that have been involved in a lot of the professional learning around PLC support, but some staff might be kind of new to it. So as a full elementary group, that was our collaboration that we had. We're all taking a look at that professional learning community and how to support that for teachers. One of the success that we like to highlight is our targeted support. So if we have students that are maybe functioning below grade level standards but aren't on an alternate curriculum, we know that to meet those student needs, we really have to do some specific planning in order to be effective in meeting the needs of those students. That's something we're going to carry over and do more of going into next year, because we actually saw us doing that this year and using the extra support and the extra staff that we had, like through our building substitutes, helping create some release time so that teachers can do that. And we just had our celebration as a staff about that this past Thursday, and it was awesome. To see how that work can move the needle for individual students is really something special. So that's something we are going to continue into next year. And lastly, we're going to be taking a look more at our recess programming and providing some more structures into our recess programming going into next year.
So one of the things that I indicated earlier is that our staff and our parents really wanted us to focus on social emotional learning. So these are some of the amazing things that we've been doing this last year. I do want to point out that we do use, across the district, we use our second step curriculum. That's our social emotional learning curriculum. And the second step curriculum offers a load of resources as far as books that we can bring into the classrooms. And we have many of those books in our libraries. However, there was a significant amount that we did not. And Dr. Alschmidt, our school psychologist, worked with a member of our community that basically donated the rest of the books we did not have to our school. And so they will be put into our teachers' classroom libraries. And again, all focused on the curriculum second step that we've been using. Last year, for those of you that were here, you knew we did principal book reads. We continued that this year, but we focused on the social emotional learning. So what we did is we aligned our book reads that Mr. Linder and I do into our classrooms with the second step lessons. So whatever the second step lesson was being taught, then during that portion of time, we would rotate in and do a book read with the kids and kind of reinforce those lessons. As Mr. Linder indicated, we have our core values. As you walked through the hallway to the gym, you saw our huge, large 4 stars. When students are showing our core values, they get star tickets. And then what we do is every Friday we have a drawing for each grade level, and then they get a little prize out of the treasure chest. And then all the star tickets go on to those 4 stars, and the hope is that we fill those stars every quarter. And we have been doing a very good job with that. We've had what we call our jukebox during lunchtime as one of the big ticket prizes. Is we bring in what we call a party box, and we play music while the kids are eating lunch. We also had, for second quarter, we had our lights out, which teachers did lights out flashlight reads, they did dance parties, they did neon, they did all kinds of different things with that. The one thing that is new this year that I want to just mention is what we call a bag tag. So students that are demonstrating these core values, they can get nominated for what we call a bag tag. And they can be nominated by any staff or by any student from the school. And so what it is, it's like a luggage tag, and it has a big star in the middle, and then it'll say integrity or perseverance or whatever our core value is. And if they get nominated, they get a bag tag. And so what we do is during lunch, we make the announcement for the quarter. These are the students that earned bag tags for this quarter. And then we go around and we clip the bag tag onto their backpack. So they walk around all proud of the bag tags that they have gathered. And then the last thing regarding our social emotional learning, we've got Dr. Allschmidt, our school psychologist, and we have Claire Sorge, who is our elementary social worker, who have done just an amazing job helping to support our students and our families. They have done things as far as reaching out and providing different resources within the community for our families, or if it's just kind of touching base with some of our kids that might need a little extra, just a little extra something here and there, but they've done an amazing job. Another area of focus that we want to focus on is student and family engagement, and now I'm going to allow our guest Cooper to kind of talk a little bit about that and some of the things that have gone on, some of the things he's experienced regarding the student-family engagement.
Okay. One of my favorite activities that we did was called High Interest Day, which is where parent volunteers came in and they taught something fun that would also help us learn. One of my favorite things I did was remote control cars, which I got to learn how to repair remote control cars. And also there was sports activities that were very fun, and I learned how to play new sports. Other activities were gym Olympics. That was very cool that parents could come in with their students and participate in the activity. For example, one of them was swimming, which you had to push off on a scooter, off the floor. Another example was showcase night, where parents can come in and see all the good work that their student has done, all their art projects. And another one is the concert, where parents can come watch their kids sing, and Mr. Winters is a great director of that, and parents can see the kids' songs, and there's a theme to every concert. Oh yeah, and the lock-in is also very fun. The lock-in, we do inflatable things. It's from 9 to 11. Every student from 5th and 6th can come in and enjoy themselves. One of my favorite things there was the dodgeball and basketball playing you could do.
Thanks, Cooper. A couple other things that we've done this year, brand new this year, was Trunk or Treat. If you look up in the right-hand corner there, looking at the screen, we had parents volunteer to basically bring their cars out back and decorate them. And kids came in costume, and then they went from car to car to car, and candy was handed out. In the lower right-hand side is something that we brought to Orchard Lane last year. It's called Cheers and Tears. It's for our kindergarten families. And basically, we welcome our new kindergarten families with a little continental breakfast. And then we have, we ask a parent that has already had a kindergartner go through to come and speak and just kind of tell what to expect, from your child when he or she is in kindergarten, and they go home the first couple days or maybe the first week, and all they want to do is go to sleep because they're exhausted. And as Cooper also said, our concerts have been just a welcome success. In fact, next week we have our kindergarten concert, so we're looking forward to that. Another area we're very proud of are collaborative partnerships. We have many of these going on and still continuing as we approach the end of the year. So Cooper will start off and then I'll finish up talking about those.
One of the partnerships is Jump Into Your Future Day, where you can learn about the jobs outside of school that you can do. Two of my favorites were quality engineering and electrical engineering, where I learned what circuits are and how to see when something's wrong and fix the problem. I like this because you can see the jobs outside of school that they might not teach in school.
Some other things that we've done with our partnerships, of course, pictured there is our DARE officer coming in and teaching DARE to our 5th grade students. We've done some partnerships in the past, and we've actually expanded them this year with Eisenhower and New Berlin West. We've done with Eisenhower's science classes. They've come over here to do like a weather unit, and I believe it's either next week or the week after, we're taking our 3rd graders over there to kind of finalize one of the projects that they've been working on. We also had Eisenhower come over for a activity in literacy with some of our students. And then over on the right side of our screen is the partnership we have, again, with Junior Achievement in BizTown. Always a huge success with our 5th graders. On the left side, this was brand new this year. It was a partnership with Eisenhower, and it was a kindness activity with one of our 3rd grade classes, which was a huge success. And then something, again, brand new this year that's coming up here in a few weeks is we are actually partnering with New Berlin West and their 10th grade English students, and they are creating and writing children's books, and basically one of our 2nd grade classrooms is going to be going over to New Berlin West, and we're going to partner the students, and we're going to have a literacy activity with the 2nd graders and the 10th graders. So we're really looking forward to that. That's brand new this year.
We have a lot of great fundraisers at our school. One of my favorites is Penny Wars. You can put pennies in a jar and try to compete for your grade to win with an initiative at the end if you win. And you can also take points away from other grades, which is always very fun. And also the Pop Tops. We are currently doing the Pop Tops, which is very good because you don't usually use the Pop Tops that you get. You can just donate them, and it'll really help the Ronald McDonald House. And also the food drive. The food drive is very fun. I liked the initiative for it. We got to see Mr. Lindner and Miss Cater do karaoke, which I liked. Okay. The moving on ceremony is something we do at the end of the year, which I'm really looking forward to. Hot dog day. I always like hot dog day. You get to eat it outside, usually, and it's very fun. The field trip. The field trip's going to be awesome. We get to go to Urban Air for 2 hours with the whole place rented out to ourselves. I love that. And also in the picture, you can see us at the start of the year. We made a bridge for the kindergartners to walk through coming into the school. And the moving on ceremony is super cool because there's a party at the end of the year that we get to do, which I've heard from leaving 6th graders is going to be really fun.
And as you know, with Orchard Lane, sending students both to West and to Eisenhower, that culmination of that 6th grade is really exciting for the students. What Cooper actually found out that our other 6th graders don't know yet is that we're actually going to flip things on them at the end of the year. And with the sixth graders, we're making the bridge that the kindergartners walked into school for the very first time. We're going to flip that, and our kindergartners are going to make a bridge that the sixth graders are going to have to walk under when they leave Orchard Lane for the last time. So we're looking forward to that. I think that's going to be a fun event. So just, again, the next steps for us, we're going to continue our work, focus on our work in literacy. That's something that's going to be, you're going to hear that, with all of our elementary schools and high schools as well. And also like our work to continue to become a stronger professional learning community, not only for the benefit of our students, but also for the benefit of our staff as well.
right, thank you for that tour. And now we're on to our secondary student representative updates.
Thank you. Vern's Village Cafe is running a 2-week special selling Quick Trip cinnamon rolls and donuts. Students can purchase these items with cash or card, either before school or during certain class periods. Spanish students in levels 1 through 6 had the opportunity to take the National Spanish exam. 50 students took the test, and 18 of them earned awards for their performances. As classes are wrapping up this spring, some math and science classes have field trips to Brewers games or Six Flags. Students are moving into their second week of AP testing this week, so good luck to everyone. West is hosting a middle school lock-in this Friday from 6 to 11 p.m. Activities will include obstacle courses, trivia, crate making, a movie, and more. New Berlin West and New Berlin Eisenhower's Best Buddy chapters will be combining this Saturday, May 14th, to host a friendship walk. The Fishing Club is getting ready to roll this summer with sign-up meetings during flex and lunch. New Berlin West softball beat Pewaukee 12-0 last week. Girls soccer will face Ike on May 18th for their charity game. This year, the teams are supporting the New Berlin Food Pantry, bring canned goods for free entry. Seniors are getting ready to graduate. Before graduation on June 11th, seniors will have an awards night to recognize their scholarships, a banquet to celebrate their past and their future, and they will also do a walkthrough of the elementary schools. And lastly, I'd like to thank you all for having me these 2 years, so thank you.
Thank you. And we have the superintendent's update.
It's been an absolute pleasure to have you be a representative of New Berlin West and the school district. I did want to say that I'm extremely also proud that you are choosing to move forward with ROTC and using that as an opportunity to kind of enhance your future as well, which kind of bridges me to the next item which I have, which is Patriotic Citizens Day in New Berlin. And the Hopner-Horn Brothers Veterans of Foreign Wars Post 5716 is very excited to announce that they will resume their annual Patriotic Citizens Day on Sunday, June 12, 2022 at 2 p.m. It's my privilege on behalf of the School District of New Berlin to nominate Mr. Ron Seidel as the recipient of the 2022 Patriotic Citizen Award recognition on behalf of the School District of New Berlin. Mr. Seidel has been a resident of New Berlin for 16 years, where he resides with his wife and 2 children, both of whom attend New Berlin West High School. Mr. Seidel is the epitome of a patriotic citizen, especially given his commitment to military service, the City of New Berlin Common Council, and obviously as Board of Education member of the School District of New Berlin. Specifically, Mr. Seidel is a veteran of the U.S. Army and U.S. Army Reserve, where he served 8 years. He was also the 3rd District Alderman from 2007 to 2019, where he served and led various committees, including the Utility Committee, Library Board, Finance Committee, and Communications Committee. Mr. Seidel is currently serving as citizen member of the City of New Berlin Board of Public Works. And while serving on the City Council, Mr. Seidel volunteered for the School District of New Berlin's Budget Balancing Task Force and was then elected to the Board of Education in 2021, where he currently serves and will again serve as Finance Committee Chair. Mr. Seidel's dedication through his service is a testament of his commitment to the students, families, staff, taxpayers, and greater New Berlin community. During his respective tenures, the City of New Berlin and School District of New Berlin continue to be recognized as some of the greatest school districts and places to live in Wisconsin and the nation. It is for these reasons that we believe Mr. Seidel is more than deserving of your recognition, and this is to the VFW, Post 5716, of their recognition of this year's Patriotic Citizen Award. There will be, again, Patriotic Citizens Day celebration at the VFW on June 12th, 2022 at 2 p.m. And Mr. Seidel, once again, we thank you for everything that you've done in New Berlin and beyond, and certainly a testament to your service and dedication to this community.
Thank you so much. I'm humbled. Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is the consent agenda, which includes the notice and approving minutes of April 25th. Are there any items that should be pulled out for separate consideration? Do I have a motion for the consent agenda?
So moved.
I have a motion by Mr. Helmer and a second by Mr. Kurth to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed? Motion passes. On to our regular agenda. We have discussion and update regarding ESSER federal relief funds.
So we have provided several updates to the board as we've moved through several different presentations, specifically our presentation related to our facilities funding plan, which the board has approved and then reapproved with some updates. That was in concert and cooperation with the Finance Committee as well as the Facilities Committee, and then fully approved by the board. Part of those presentations have included the fact that we have yet to get ESSER funds solidified. And the great news is we have an update on that. The plan, which was presented, that was kind of in limbo at the state level, between the Joint Finance Committee and DPI, has been resubmitted to the Department of Education and has now been approved by the Department of Education. It is now back to DPI to administer those funds. Patrick has the specific details of those funds and some of the minute detail as it relates to what now. Patrick.
Thank you. We did receive, I apologize, my wife tried to kill me with yard work on Saturday, so we did receive the final allocations from the Department of Public Instruction last week after the plan was approved by the Education Department in Washington. There are three parts to ESSER 3. The first is the formula-based allocation. That allocation, all the districts in the state got a portion of that based on their Title I eligibility. The district received $775,000 for that formula-based portion. Then there was an additional allocation given to raise all of the school districts that were not at least $578 per pupil. The school district of New Berlin received an additional $1,665,000 for that. Now, it should be stated that in the formula-based allocation, 20% of that needs to be used for evidence-based improvement strategies. And in the second allocation, 100% of that needs to be used for evidence-based improvement strategies. I have had discussions with Dr. Sanders about that, and we have more than enough expenses that we will be able to use for reimbursement for evidence-based improvement strategies. The final allocation was an allocation for those school districts during I'll say the second year of the pandemic that were committed to and accomplished in-person instruction. The school district of New Berlin for that third allocation received $1,051,000 for a grand total of $3.5 million in ESSER 3 funds.
And again, just as a point of clarification, we have not received these dollars yet. But once DPI gets their administrative processes in place, we will be able to submit our expenses for reimbursement. And so, again, we've worked hard to balance our budgets and pay down debt. This will enhance our opportunities moving forward, but again, none of this has been factored into our spending to date. And the other thing that I do want to clarify, and I know that Ron has mentioned this before, there are no strings attached other than when the evidence-based learning and that Patrick mentions are things that are locally controlled and defined, that are within a certain parameter. So It's not like we have to adopt a certain thing from the federal government in order for us to attain these funds. So for example, one of the things that we'll be seeking approval from the for reimbursement is our ELA programming that was approved by the board about a month ago. Again, local control, local opportunities, and not something that there is a string attached. And so with that, again, this is just a general update, but Patrick will be presenting the preliminary budget to the full board twice in June, one as a presentation, secondly for approval. He will include these allocations in there. As far as, they'll be noted somewhere, but as far as what may carry over and what may not, they will be represented in there so that the board is aware. And these numbers are now actual. They're not guesstimates, and I'm proud to say that Patrick in his magic 8-ball or magic ball, whatever he has, was within $40 of the allocation that he had anticipated. So great job, Patrick, on those estimates, and congrats on getting that the conservative budgeting principles applied, so that the board wasn't expecting less or more than what you had anticipated. Any questions from the board at this time? Otherwise, again, we plan on providing more detail as Patrick rolls out the budget in the coming months.
I just had a couple questions. And I don't know if it should be directed to you, Joe, or to you, Patrick, but if you have the answer, great. If you need to get back to me, that's fine. I know that several weeks ago, I believe it was in March, was where we were given an estimate of about $2.5 million that we were going to be getting for ESSER 3 funds. At that time, Elmbrook also released what they were expecting to get, and they were expecting to get $6.5 million. That's a lot more than 2.5. And so that raised my eyebrow. And I know that they have about 7,400 students in Elmbrook. We've got about 4,200. So they've got about 3,000 more, but they don't have proportionally more as far as those ESSER numbers went. So my question is, how, first of all, now that we know final numbers, then what is I know the Elmbrook number was a predicted number. I'd like to know sort of how we compare to that. How were those numbers arrived at? Was there an application process that we had to give the DPI in order to get these funds awarded? And did Elmbrook have to do the same? And how did they get so much more money proportionally based on by student than we did? Those are my questions. Does that make sense?
We'll have to get back to you
Yeah,
because
of course.
we don't know what Elmbrook's numbers and
appreciate
why
it.
and
Right. I
how
just
they
wanted
came
to-
up with what they predicted or anything like that.
Well, no,
So-
and I don't even care about the predictions
Yeah.
anymore because now we have solid numbers, right?
Mhm.
So whatever the solid numbers are, how did they compare, and what were the criteria based that those numbers were based upon, and if they fared better per student than we did, why? That's my question.
Okay. Any other questions?
Anyone? Okay, so I do have some questions. When we are able to use the money to reimburse things that have already been paid for, that sort of leaves us then with some money that we were already planning to spend that now we have. You're probably going to be answering this as we go through the budgeting, but I just sort of want an idea, like how are we going to use that? Can it be used to pay down debt? And would it be able to reduce the amount of money we need to levy for next year?
So a couple things. We are going to so first things first, we're going to reimburse the things that we can get reimbursed. That's the first thing. As far as paying down further debt, it's not like just you have this extra money or you have this you knew something was coming, you didn't know what it was, and now all of a sudden you want to pay down your mortgage principal. The difference is we're not dealing with a mortgage, we're dealing with certified bonds. And certified bonds, unlike your mortgage, say it's a 30-year mortgage or a 15-year mortgage, are callable at certain times. And the next callable debt that we have is in 2027. So while we have these dollars kind of sitting there between now and then, Sure. Well, could we recommend paying down debt someday? Yeah. But unfortunately, we don't have the opportunity to do so until at least 2027. The other thing that I would encourage the board to do is we have is basically to sit on those dollars until further notice. And part of the reason why is because we don't know what the next biennial budget is going to look like. In talking to our local legislators, and I've spoken to Dal Kuyenga and Mike Kuglich, both of whom are no longer going to be seeking re-election. But I also have been working with Julian Bradley, who also represents the school district of New Berlin in part in the Senate. But Dal Kuyenga was a member of the Joint Finance Committee, so he was a great partner to have. But they're trying to figure out what they're going to be doing with K-12 education because what the budget that was previously approved basically didn't give K-12s a huge amount at the state level because of the dollars that we were getting from the federal level, which made sense at the time. Plus, because of what the House and Senate were able to do related to the budget, they now have a budget surplus, and they believe that they may be using some of those dollars to recoup the gap that was anticipated based off of what they did during the COVID years per se. So for us, conservatively speaking, we would recommend we hold those dollars in place. I don't believe that we should be recommending doing anything more with our facilities planning that was already approved at this time until we know exactly what's going to be happening with the next biennial budget. Things could go up or down, and it's to be determined. And so with that, yes, I mean, would I say let's consider paying down the debt? We couldn't, even if we wanted to at this time. Now, would the board want to earmark that for, say, 5 years from now? We could. That's a long time away, and that's actually roughly 2.5 biennial budgets between now and then. A lot could happen, and so I'm not sure that that's something that we exactly want to do, first of all. Second of all, we're going to be that much closer to the end of retiring all of that debt come 2027 as well. So we will be happy to provide more detail, Jan, and I apologize if it didn't answer all your questions, but certainly that's something that we'll ask Patrick to bring forth. And then, also, like, how does this impact the mill rate? And quite honestly, it doesn't. When you're talking federal dollars, you're now talking about kind of an apple and an orange when it relates to budgets. But certainly we are being mindful of taxpayer dollars. Do we want to kind of keep these dollars in our fund balance and or not, levy as much? You could do a lot of things. This board has done that in previous years, but know that there's also risk involved, which means that you'll actually lose those dollars permanently then if that's what you choose to do. And again, we are just, right now there are too many variables to be able to have us give you a recommendation on what to do with those dollars at this time.
I was actually going to say, if interest rates continue to go up, I would look at investing those instead of paying down our debt. If we're at 2% and we can get 5 or 7% on it, you're nodding like you're thinking of this. So
well, we have already been thinking of that. So that's actually known as positive arbitrage in public entities. And you're right. What you can do is you can actually invest the dollars that you have in your reserves, and you would get a higher return. What positive arbitrage does is you get a higher return on those bonds as opposed to the borrowing that you're getting as it relates to that. So, and I don't know at the city level if you guys experienced that, Ron, with the positive arbitrage. When I first got here 15, 16 years ago, that is what we were doing. Patrick and I have already had a conversation around that, and we're going to be exploring those opportunities for us. We're just not sure that we're there quite yet.
it's just something to look at for 2 and 4 years out, because the other problem we have is if we continue to hold cash and we have 10% inflation or 8% inflation, whatever we see, then all of our buying power goes away for any of our facilities projects that we want to do too. So
Sure.
if we can,
Yeah, I was just actually going to reiterate that with construction costs, what they are. I mean, I'm looking at because I'm in the building industry all the time, and I'm seeing projects just slow down, and some of them just stop, just because like the cost of materials are up. You know, to build a house, it's upwardly to $100,000 more in just material than what you were getting last year. It's insane. So
Yeah, and that is actually something we're already looking at as far as our facilities plan. Quite honestly, what's going to be interesting about the budget that we'll be presenting again this year, just like it was last year, is some of those dollars may need to be carried over into the next budget like they were this year because of the supply chain issues that we are currently experiencing. And similar to what you just said, we may have to delay projects altogether because it's either too expensive or we can't get the material. So, but again, that will all be presented within that preliminary budget. And again, you've got 2 meetings for that, a presentation, and then the next meeting will be for approval.
All right. Then we have our action items from closed session.
I would move to approve the employment services reports as presented.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Kurth, a second by Mr. Helmer. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed? Motion passes. And we have one more.
I move to approve the negotiations with Waukesha State Bank facilities naming rights as presented.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Kurth and a second by Mr. Helmer to approve. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed? Motion passes. Then we have future meetings and dates. Board meetings are generally held the second and fourth Mondays, beginning at 7:00 p.m. in the Eisenhower Commons, unless noted otherwise. Our next meeting is May 23rd, and that will be at Elmwood Library, and it includes a building tour. And then we have June 13th and June 27th. And then other important events dates, May 21st is Safety Saturday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the Children's Hospital over here in New Berlin. Next is adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I have a motion by Mr. Helmer and a second by Mr. Kurth to adjourn. All those in favor, raise your right hand. This meeting is adjourned. Motion passes. Thank you.